Anita Willie.
Hey, 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 hey.
We come to tell them again. Remix.
This one for the people now.
Hear the thing now. This beautiful princess love me like a brother, but her mother always accused me to be her lover. This beautiful princess love me like a brother, but her mother used to accuse me to be her lover.
I say, don't worry, woman, mother say, I will love you, my darling. Please carry me away.
I am in love with a girl, she is from Rosalton, but her mother was the cause for our separation. Play the thing, let me go now. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you throw your hands in the air now. Put this one, hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hands in the air. Hands in the air.
When my
It's a long time, I know you're watching, can't help but keep on blushing.
Bunty sing,
Sabita,
Mahat. तूने नी सितारे पहचान सा मुकरा, क्या कहना उसका आफरी धावत में जैसे वो शाही टुकड़ा, उसके जैसे ना कोई नाज़नी। शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बन ठन के, वही तू मेरे स्वीट है। शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठे है दुल्हन के, वही तू मेरे स्वीट हाथ है। शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बन ठन के, वही तू मेरे स्वीट हाथ है। शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठे है दुल्हन के, वही तू मेरे स्वीट हाथ है।
it's a long time, I know you're watching, can't help but keep on blushing. Hoping that we never part. It's a long time, I know you're watching, can't help but keep on blushing. I will be your sweetheart.
कैसे मैं कहूँ शुक्रिया, उसका मुझ पे एहसान है। नाजीजों के बस्ती में वो जो बन के आए मेहमान है।
I know that you're watching me, I like when you're watching me.
कैसे मैं कहूँ शुक्रिया, उसका मुझ पे एहसान है। नाजीजों के बस्ती में वो जो बन के आए मेहमान है। लगता है शादी घर में उसके आने से जैसे चल की आई है खुशकिस्मती। सारी महफिल की वो जान बनी है, क्या कहना उसका आफरी। मुखलिस के दिल का अरमान बनी है, उसके जैसे ना कोई नाज़नी। शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बन ठन के, वही तू मेरे स्वीट हाथ है। शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठे है दुल्हन के, वही तू मेरे स्वीट हाथ है।
People say sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. But that's not true. Words can hurt. They hurt me. Things were said to me that I still haven't forgotten. Demi Lovato. This is Get Real with Shameeza, and I'm your hostess, Shameeza Ali. Salam, namaste, and a special good evening to everyone joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Island Zone Radio, and on NTN Channel 69 in Georgetown, Guyana. Tonight, we have my beautiful co host, Annalisa. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having
It's
me.
a pleasure to have you here in studio, Annalisa.
I
And I know
this is fun.
this, yeah, just having you here, you're so naturally pretty.
Oh,
We get
thank
to miss these things when, you're so far away
Thank
in
you.
studio. We get to experience, each other actions when we speak. We get to see the emotions in each other's faces. And
Yeah.
it's truly, truly a pleasure to
Yeah.
have you here this evening.
It's great that we're doing this together. I'm very happy. And you're absolutely stunning. Like I was saying to you earlier, this does not do justice to you at
Well,
all.
thank you. It's sometimes I think that when it comes to TV and all these things, we're supposed to look a certain way, feel a certain way, but it's always good when you are in person. Someone says to you, "Oh my God, you're different in person," right? Because I don't
Yeah.
want to look all gorgeous when I'm here with
Yeah.
on television, and you see me, and you're like, "Oh, okay,"
Well, and I think there's something special when a woman tells a woman,
Yes,
right? It's
absolutely.
there is something about that when you hear
I-
it from a woman that, oh, you're beautiful. There isn't an agenda.
Right, and I
Yeah.
can see your faces.
Yeah.
You tell me that, right?
Yes.
You can
Yes.
see mine as
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
gorgeous. But anyway, tonight we have an important discussion, right?
Mhm.
Something that many of us feel strongly about, and we have at some point in time felt bullied, have seen it, or has experienced it in some way. Either we had control over it or we didn't. Regardless of what it is, tonight we are here to discuss. We know what bullying is. I think it's not something that we have to figure out. How do we know what bullying is? It's really, what do we do now when we figured it out? We've seen it. How do we act? As if you're the victim, if you are the bystander, what do you do?
Mhm.
Right? So that's
Mhm.
our topic tonight. We're going to get right into it. But first, guys, here is a message from our sponsors.
Enos Driving School offers training for CDL licenses, including tractor trailers, trucks, and school buses. Just think, with a CDL license, you can have access to thousands of driving jobs at large companies such as FedEx, UPS, MTA, or New York Sanitation. Enos Driving School also offers defensive driving courses and training classes for cars and motorcycles, all taught by their college-trained instructors who can even schedule your road test appointments. Inquire about other driving and training packages as well. You might even be qualified for their free CDL training, as they are a certified institution with the New York State Workforce One program. Call Enos Driving School today. They've been serving our community for over 10 years.
M&R Firefest is one of the newest hotspot in Richmond Hill. If you're looking to have a fun time or just chill, this lounge is the place to be. We celebrate all occasions, and our live entertainment and drink specials are amazing. We are located at 13123 Liberty Avenue. Come check us out and see what everyone is talking about.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese, and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless, and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
All right, we are back. And like I said, there's so much to discuss tonight. And I'm happy tonight joining me, my co-host Annalisa Bahadur is here to just walk me through, and we're going to guide each other. We're looking forward to your interaction as the viewers. What is your experience? What do you give us some ideas of what you've experienced, whether you were the victim, you were a bystander, whatever it is, just tell us. But share. We want this to be an interactive program. We have the entire hour, well, about 50 minutes left in this program for us to share ideas and for us to have a discussion on bullying awareness and how we can prevent it.
And I think what's really important is if you could share with us how you felt when you were bullied.
Right.
And if you can be so bold and vulnerable to say, I've said something nasty, or I've bullied someone.
Mhm.
And, we're all growing. We all have a past. We've all done things that we're not always proud of. And this is, it's a no judgment zone that we're always talking about not judging. So this is a no judgment zone. It's safe. And, we'll keep your comments private, but just to have an idea of what you've experienced in terms of bullying. I know I was bullied in high school, but in Guyana, it's a different situation. It's like we didn't learn how to talk,
Right.
like discuss things.
Did we even know back then that was considered bullying? It was that a norm back then? No one spoke about it, so we didn't even know what it was,
Yeah.
right?
No.
I can tell you, having this discussion and getting research done for it, it has made me so conscious of what bullying is. I've had discussions with my kids as to, have you guys done these things? And I read details, the lines and lines of details. Have you done this to anyone? Is my question to my kids. Or have you felt this?
Mhm,
Right?
mhm.
And I think going through these exercises with your kids are very, very important. Now, I do want to say kids are not the only ones that are being bullied, even though most of us will think that it's a major concern because kids do not know how to handle, they don't have control, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to bullying, we have kids in schools that are being bullied, we have workplace
Mhm.
bullying,
Mhm.
we have cyberbullying. So there are different
Mhm.
types of bullying, and how we handle these situations is very important. So tonight we will discuss the different ways to handle. We know what bullying is, we just need to know how to handle it.
Mhm, mhm. I feel like when it comes to children, that's a bit tricky because when kids are learning about themselves, they don't know exactly how to articulate what's going on with them, how they're feeling about things. And I think it's our responsibility as their parents to have that conversation with them, let them know again that this is a safe space. Whatever happens, you're safe to say whatever you feel. There won't be any repercussions. And what you say to me stays with me unless you want me to do something. So, for example, if it's happening in school, your child should feel comfortable first to come to you and say, this is what's going on at school. This is what this person's saying or doing to me. They know that there isn't going to be a repercussion on your end. You're not going to get angry with them. You're not going to blame them for it. You're not going to ask questions like, well, what did you do? Right? Because that's putting that responsibility on them, and they shut down. And then they're going to know that it's safe. You're not going to act on it without permission. I think it's very important for our children to know they could come to us, and if we want to talk to the teacher, then we approach them and say, look, this is a huge issue. If it is, I think it would be best if we speak with a teacher, but I'm giving you, that authority. This is your story. And you'll be amazed at, just showing them that respect, how quickly they'll come and say, yeah, I think I'd like for you to do something about this. But they need to have that time and space to make that decision on their own, because it's their lives. And I know we like to say that we're parents and we know better, but the truth is, if we admit to ourselves, we're kind of figuring it out just they are.
And it's important that something that you just said just ring a bell to my ears, and it's something that I've done with my older kids. And a little background on us: a lot of my years it was spent in Seattle, 8 years of my life, and I was raising young kids at that time. In Seattle, the areas that we were living was area that didn't have a lot of colored kids. So my two kids were two brown kids among many white kids. And my daughter was bullied. Maybe my son was bullied too, but me at that time, I remember I was still in my late 20s, early 30s. I will ask my daughter things like, so what did you do for this to happen? So when you said that just now, it triggered that I have done that. I have asked my child, what have you done? Because I think sometimes we don't want our kids to always feel that they're right. So we try to make it some in a way, or this is what I have seen probably in other parents, that I think it's right to say, hey, what have you done? And she shut down. Like she was like, you're blaming me right away.
Yeah.
She went to,
Yeah.
you're blaming me, right? And
Yeah.
she shut down.
Yeah.
So it's important now. If I could go back and change things, I would definitely have changed the words that I used, because I didn't get far. And she went through this phase where there were so much things that happened to her, but she didn't tell me because she knew mommy will say, well, what did I do? Regardless if she was right or wrong, she didn't have mommy on her side to speak to. And she didn't have anyone there either. So it was a very challenging time, but we live, we learn, right? But we have to be able to step back and say, hey, listen, what can I do differently, right? And here I am, hopefully with my younger kids now. I've learned from that, and I can sit, listen, and say, okay, can we speak to your teacher? Can we do whatever is necessary?
And look, it's common. It is so common to, especially in our culture, to jump in with the, what did you do? Because that's what we grew up with, right?
Exactly.
Something happens to you, you go to your mom or dad, and the first thing it's like, oh, what did you do? What did you do? Right. But there is a way of correcting it, even at your daughter's age. First, don't beat up on yourself about it. It's not going to do anything about it. What you can do is go to her and say, look, I remember this particular time when this thing happened, and I did not act in a responsible way. Because what that's going to start doing for her now is getting her to connect all the times when something happened that was not right. Right. And she didn't come to you, and she releases the blame. She stops blaming herself. Right. So you can always apologize for it. And forgive yourself, but that's pretty much what we could do. Yeah,
we've had discussions later on in the years. Now she's 27. We've had discussions about it, and I understood how she felt when I did those things. Right, like it really, really had an impact on her. And so that's what I'm saying. As parents, we need to really step back sometimes and listen. And it's hard because of how we grew up, of what we've seen around us. And speaking of that, I do want to take this comment. It says, it's an awful feeling being bullied by others, especially when they spread gossip and lies about you and have others attack you without knowing the truth. It affects you mentally and emotionally. Very true.
Yeah. Can I say something about that?
Absolutely.
First of all, this is how you release that pain from you. It's got nothing to do with you. A person who is mean and nasty to you, there's an insecurity on their end. If they're saying something about you, I think I talk about this often. I think I did last time too. If someone tells you your hair is blue and ugly, you're not going to believe it. It's not going to hurt you because most likely you don't have blue hair, right? If you're hurting, it means there's a part of you that believes them. But here's what. They're saying it because there's a part of them that's insecure. So say, for example, you spoke about this the last time we met. If someone says something to you about your show, why are you doing this? Or who are you to do this? Or something of the sort. There's an insecurity on their end. It's there's jealousy, whatever it is, there's some sort of an insecurity. So that's not on you. If they're gossiping about you, you know the truth. And if it's something that hurts you, then question yourself and change that. But, for the most part, you've got to shrug your shoulders and just keep moving, because it really, it doesn't do any good for anybody. It's not helping anyone. So
it's easy, Annalisa, for us to sit here because I think both of us, we've been through so much in life, right? We've seen so much, and it's easy for us to, we've gotten to that point in life where we've seen so much, we've been through so much, and we become strong mentally, emotionally, right? We still have days though where things do bother us because we're human at the end of the day. But going back to what you were saying, when someone says something about you, when they spread lies and rumors and do all these things, I feel that you have we're not all the same. There are people who can't handle it. And this is how bullying affect that person. Because if we all build ourselves up to that point, then it wouldn't affect any one of us.
Yeah.
But there are people out there who still has those little things that they question themselves, and they're like, you know what? My hair might not be blue, but it's very close to blue. Like, how do I,
Okay. So in that case, no, everyone will be affected to some degree. We're all affected by, I heard something last week about me, and it hurt. And that's what I'm saying. Things will affect you. You will feel the sting of judgment and criticism. And it takes time. So the first thing you want to get your mental muscle in is to start practicing journaling. It is so incredibly important. You're writing your thoughts out, and it helps you to process that information. And you're going to be able on your own to extract exactly what it is that's hurting you, right? So this is going to be a lifetime issue. How you quickly recover is entirely up to you. Nobody could fix this. Nobody's going to stop someone from saying mean and nasty things.
Right.
So this is on you to fix yourself. Start journaling. And then when someone says something mean, you have to remember, if you've got to remember when we were kids, I don't know about you, but as a punishment, you had to write 20 times.
100 times.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So write it 20 or 100 times. This is not about me. It's not about me. Eventually it sticks in your head, right?
Right.
That was a punishment which worked wonders. My eldest daughter said it was the best punishment because she never did the thing again.
Yes.
So, so you're building your mental muscle. And so it's for first awareness and then quick recall. So you're going to get hurt, but it shouldn't take you days of lamenting on this thing. It should probably take you 5 minutes or less.
Right.
At some point. But again, it's a mental muscle. You keep working on it. And the more you work on it, the faster the recall, the less the pain.
You see this comment here. It says some schools doesn't take bullying seriously, which leads to the child to act out by skipping classes or even committing suicide. The kids has a lot of peer pressure.
Okay. Well, we talked about this just a little bit before the show, where I was saying that you can't control what's going to happen to your child when your child gets out there. You cannot control that. But what you do have some control of is helping them to build their confidence. You have to be able to help them to build their confidence, help them to know who they are. Right. So that when someone comes in with an attack, they can appreciate that it's got nothing to do with them. So we're older. I'm 42, right? If I'm supposed to get on this right now, this path, it's going to take me a much longer time because 42 years, my brain has been programmed a certain way. Right. But our children are still young. It's easy to mold them, much easier to mold them. So you could build their confidence because when they get out in the world there, we have absolutely no control.
Very true. And, I know you have a young son out there as well. I have little kids, and there are things that happen all the time, either to them or they're doing it to others. Our kids are not that innocent, guys. I am sorry. Breaking news, if you don't know, our kids at some point will feel challenged and they will turn around. How we handle it at home is what makes the difference. If you're really listening to your kids at home, you should know that not all kids, most of us, our kids are not that innocent. They can be little bullies too. I have experienced it. I have heard my kids say things and I'm like, huh? What? And we've had more time to hear about these things in the last 1.5, 2 years when the kids were actually in front of us, right? And they will make smart remarks about another kid, or they will say certain things on that chat group that So we've heard it. If you didn't hear it, keep listening, because you will hear at some point your kid will say something and you'll be like, maybe that's not right. That doesn't sound right. What do you do? Yeah. And what do you do at that point?
So my little boy, he's 11. Plays these video games, right?
Yes.
And they say stuff. One thing I'm always mindful of, not that I don't mess up, I do a lot. But what I'm mindful of is how I speak with him when his friends are listening, right? Especially then, because not that I'm a different speaker when his friends are listening and not, but I don't want him to feel embarrassed. It's easy for a child to feel embarrassed. So, they were talking to each other, saying things to each other, not about anyone. And I thought it was time to step in. And so he muted it. And I was like, look, I need to talk to you. This is not cool. Don't talk to each other like this. Don't have your friends
Right.
use these words on you. It's
Exactly.
not okay. It's going to affect you later on. It's going to affect your confidence. He's 11 years old. He's getting it. He is understanding it. He says, I'm really sorry, Mommy. If you'd like, you could speak with him. Spoke with the friend. He apologized. End of story. We kept moving on. But that's pretty much how you deal with it. And the other thing is you ask your children, if you hear your child saying something mean or nasty, ask them why. Ask them why. Why would you say something like this? How would you feel if someone said it to you?
Exactly.
Right. And the other thing that parents tend to do, especially our culture again, is hide our feelings from our children. When our children see that a bully says something to us and it hurts us, they develop empathy for other people.
Right.
We can't hide our feelings anymore. It doesn't protect them. If we're hiding our emotions, few things it's telling them. Sharing your feelings is a weakness. You've got to toughen up.
Yeah.
You can't be vulnerable, right? And so when that happens, especially men, and that's a whole different conversation, especially our boys, they're shutting down and they're unable to share their feelings. And that's when they start lashing out.
So again, when we speak of bullying, we're not only speaking of being bullied, we're speaking of us bullying as well, right? Because it happens. And we just spoke briefly about as parents or as someone who is, and it could be us listening to our spouse too, right? The way they speak to their coworkers or their friends or others. Are we really listening? Are we really thinking and seeing signs and ignoring them, right? Because we have people in our lives, when they speak to others, there's so much disrespect and there is so much in there that if you really listen, it's a form of bullying. Are we really paying attention? Or if we are paying attention, what are we doing as bystanders? Are we acting on it? Are we standing up for the other person? I've been known to stand up for others, and whether it's family members, friends, whoever it is, if I see something that's not appropriate, I speak up. And I can, I'm probably not liked for it, and I'm not looking for your likes. I'm looking for what is right. So I've done it. I'm sure, Annalisa, in your time, every day there is something happening. It could be on the street. It could be, right here in our own home, right? We see things that happen all the time.
Yeah.
How do you react to it?
Well, first of all, you have to have a moral compass. That's very important. You have
Moral
to know
compass,
where
yes.
you stand. You have to know what is your right and what is your wrong. And it is not okay to cause someone else pain. And I'm not saying that if you have a moral compass, it's not going to happen. If it happens, you apologize, right? When you're in the circle of people who are saying nasty things, making fun of someone else, it's perfectly fine to say, this conversation is making me uncomfortable. You're not trying to control them. You're not trying to change them, but you could always say, this conversation is making me uncomfortable. I'm going to remove myself. You guys could continue. That's it.
That's it.
And we've got to be careful with gossiping. There is absolutely nothing beneficial from gossiping. It doesn't put food on your table. It doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't help you grow. It's nobody's business. It's really nobody's business. And it's just hateful and nasty
It's
and
petty,
hurtful.
very petty. I've been using that word quite often recently. Petty. I just find myself using the word petty, and I feel when you sit and you gossip about others and you find negative things to say about people, regardless if you're right or you're wrong, right? If I have an issue with someone and I don't feel comfortable about something that was said, I approach them.
Yeah. Yes.
I approach them and I said, hey, this is what's going on. I've been noticing this. I wanted to have a conversation with you. If and I've had, it's, believe it or not, recently I've had situations where I've had to pull people aside and say, hey, we show up at all these different events. We see each other. I always say hi to you, but I know something's missing there. I'm trying to understand. Have I done something to you in the past? Have I said something to you? we need to fix this. We can't continue like this. We don't have to be best friends, but it's important that I know if I did something wrong, I apologize and we move on. And I think it's important if we all start paying attention to these little things and taking action, it can make a difference.
Yeah, you just start today a little bit. And again, like I said, we're going to keep slipping up. It's so easy to be genuinely sorry and say you're sorry. We could build incredible relationships by just being a little aware and apologizing when we're wrong. That's it. Be a little aware and apologizing. That's it. Balance it.
We will continue this discussion and we'll get into more things, but we want to know what you're thinking, how you're feeling right now when we're having this discussion. So please comment, let us know how you're feeling. We will be right back with a few messages from our sponsors.
Hibiscus has been a flagship restaurant in our community for a very long time. Come dine with us and enjoy our excellent food, drinks and service at any one of our many locations. We are located on 12418 101 Avenue and 22113 Jamaica Avenue. Hibiscus at Elliott's on the Mile in Freeport is one of our newest locations, along with 12402 Rockaway Boulevard. In Guyana at 91 Middle Street, Georgetown. Bring your family and friends and come visit us soon.
Kiss Hall is one of Queen's premier locations to celebrate any special occasion, business and social events. The ambience and atmosphere is rich with elegance. Let your vision come true and allow our staff to handle every aspect of your affair. Come enjoy this experience at Kiss Hall and share it with your guests in an unforgettable setting. We are located at 130 to 35 91st Ave, Richmond Hill, New York. Contact us at 347-564-5406.
Sherry's Weakness for Sweetness is a family-owned and operated bakery with a West Indian flair. We specialized in custom cakes, decorative desserts and a contemporary spin on traditional West Indian cuisine. We are located at 114-07 Jamaica Avenue. Hours of operations are Tuesday through Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Memories should always be this sweet. Come visit us today.
We are back and I'm excited because there's so much more to get to. But first, I want to take this comment. It says, I agree with what you're saying, but it's all about who to trust in these days. Even teachers bully children in our world today. Not saying that all, but they are a few. We need to educate our kids about what's happening in this world. And bullying is definitely a topic. That's why we need to show them love and keep reminding them each day that they can count on us. Anytime teenagers especially hides a lot, the world we grew up in doesn't exist anymore. That's why we have to find different ways to help.
Can you keep that up? Because
Yes.
I need to dissect that. That's a lot. Okay, who to trust? It's unfortunate, but this is a time where trust is earned, and so is respect. So you teach your children to take their time. It's something that I had to learn the hard way because I was always like, jump in and trust first and let people betray you. But you've got to take your time, and especially you could teach this to your children. To take their time with trusting someone, and you set standards. If your child is not yet a teenager, you set the standard. You meet with the teacher. You let the teacher feel your body energy and let that teacher know that you're there to protect your child. And you ask questions, get involved. My child's doing this, or my child is not feeling this, whatever it is, but you set the tone. They will respect you.
And speaking of that, when it comes to the teacher and how your kid, now you know something's going on with your kid, you speak to the teacher and you feel like you've had a few conversations and it's not going anywhere, I encourage you. The next step should be the person that's higher than the teacher. There are counselors in the school. They have like coordinators in the school, and if that's not good enough, speak to the principal of the school. But you need to let them know what's going on. They need to be fully aware.
Well, there's also, I mean, when having the conversation, you can have a conversation with a teacher and probably not run the risk of having to go to a superior. I'll try to run through this quickly, and I hope you guys will be able to remember. Okay, the way that conversation goes is you go to them. First, you tell them what you appreciate about them. I appreciate that you're there for my child. I really respect what you do. I know this is not easy for you. I have some concerns I'd like to raise with you. You raise your concerns and then ask them, can you please repeat what I've said so that we're on the same page? Now, when you asked to repeat, of course, I know the culture there. They may walk away, but you're doing your part. That's all you can do, right?
Exactly.
If they do repeat, if they are respectful and they do repeat what you've said, then you have an agreement. It's an understood agreement. Now, if they go back on what they say, you could always go back to the teacher and say, hey, we had this conversation and I was wondering if I could have said it any differently. It's all in conversation. It's all, and communication, it's not just language. It's your body language as well. It's not just the words. So those are little things that you can do. There was something else.
Really, when it comes to the teacher, we need to educate our kids about what's happening.
Now, the only way you could fix this, educating your child, it's got to be at a very young age, because by the time they get to 7, 8, they start to feel what bullying is, right? So you could start talking to them early, and how you do that is by you're showing them. I think when children are very young, you don't tell them, you show them. So, for example, you've got to be careful how you speak with them and watch their tone when they're talking to you, because in bullying, it's not just words, right? It's the tone,
actions,
right?
Actions, yeah.
Right. So you have to be careful. Have these conversations around, or if, like we talked about the gossiping, if you're in the company of family and they're gossiping, your child's going to look at how you're interacting and reacting to this gossip. They're learning from you. So when you're going to get up and say, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a part of this conversation. It does not work for me. I don't think it's right for me. You could carry on. Your child is going to start modeling that, so that you can do it at a very early age. Conversations start later on. And what the foundation that you build between the ages of 1 and 6 is what will bring that teenager to you and have that conversation with you. It doesn't mean that if you miss the 6 that you can't correct it. I'm just saying that it's so that 6 years, that informative years, it's so incredibly important. Then after that, you could still build a relationship so that your child knows they could come to you regardless of the age,
Yeah, I agree. We'll move on to the other comment. We have.
I think I also wanted to talk about the importance of discipline.
Oh, yes.
Right. And I don't mean beat your child. I'm never okay with the, it's a very, I know it's a thing back home. I got a couple of whacks when I was little. Not cool. But what you do when you discipline your child, if it's a timeout or if it's a take away their iPad or whatever, stop their allowance, whatever it is. What discipline does is, what it's telling the child is that there is an action and a consequence. And when they go out into the world and someone treats them inappropriately, they understand that there is that action that's coming from the outside world, and there is a consequence. And then they make a decision. Are they going to have a conversation with the person? Are they going to say, look, I'm sorry, it was nice knowing you, but I think we've got to go our separate ways. But they're learning actions and consequences in discipline. So that helps with the bullying along the way. Something I wanted to say, and it just slipped me completely.
A lot of kids and even adults are being bullied through social media. Hence, we're speaking about cyberbullying, right? It's not only our kids that get bullied on social media. They're adults that's being bullied. And we spoke earlier about a situation. Do you want to share with us what you?
Oh, my situation? I've had people create accounts to say nasty and mean things about me, judging. Like I share personal stories. It's really to help others to see themselves if it's okay to go through difficult times and be okay. And I've had people take my personal stories and just corrupt it and pretty much said that I was lying or whatever it was. Because I'm in this space of awareness for so long, does it affect me? Yes. For how long? Not long, because I know that's a person in deep, deep pain. If you're being nasty to me, you're in incredible pain because I'm an absolute stranger. Yeah. You don't know who I am, and you're allowing me to affect you this much. So I jump into that place of empathy, and that's easy for me. What's hard for me, I guess, because of where I came from, and most of you looking can relate. You know, back home, if someone says something nasty to you, and you're in school, you say, "Okay, meet me after school outside." Mm-hmm. So we dealt with it very differently, a very immature way, right? Not emotionally developed way, but that's how we dealt with it. So when my kids and I would talk about bullying, I remember initially when we started these conversations, my thing was just delete them. If you don't know who it is and they're being nasty to you, just delete them. And I'm guessing, but again, that's something that a child can only do if we're able to help them build their self-esteem, right? That's the only way that's going to happen, because if their self-esteem is questioned or you know, a little weak or on the weaker side, then they might buy into these things. You know, someone calls them dumb, right, and they don't feel like they're smart, right, they may get hurt, right.
I do remember a situation where a kid said to a child, one kid said to the other, "Why are you here? Nobody here cares about you." And to us, those words might seem very simple, not much of a harm. But those words to a child who is very young, who hasn't built up a lot of self-esteem and confidence, and, you know, those are words that are very painful, because they're hearing, "You shouldn't be here." Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Why are you here? Mm-hmm. You know, nobody wants you here. Yeah. You're not, they're thinking I'm not loved. Nobody cares about me, right? That's what they're hearing. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's things that's being said to other kids. And I don't know if I mean, it's kids saying it to other kids, but as adults, we have people. I've been in several chat rooms. I've seen social media where there are things being said. There are the photos of people that people put up, and they think it's funny. Mm-hmm. And they laugh about certain things, but really it's not funny. You're hurting someone. We have TikTok, which are, you know, our West Indian people are very, very, they've taken it and made it their own. And there's a lot of bullying that happens on TikTok when it comes to other people. People make different, they use people's voice and they do all these different things. And it's good to, you know, I look at it and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because this person that you're making fun of, that person is hurting. You're getting a laugh at someone's expense where that person is really hurting, and you don't know what they're capable of.
So for the person who does the bullying, today I saw someone making fun of Michelle Obama, right? And they're saying that, oh, she's a man, and the ex-president married a man. And I'm looking at this, and I read her book, and I'm thinking, wow, this is such a remarkable human being, right? If you're laughing, if you're making fun of this incredible human being who was the first lady, who goes down in history
and one of the most memorable
first ladies. I mean, what sort of a sadness is happening inside of you? So, you know, if you're someone, I'm going to say this, if you're someone who thinks it's fun to mock at other people and laugh at other people, fine, go ahead. But achieve what they've achieved. Do what they do. The thing that you're laughing at, go do it. And then we can have this conversation again. Because a lot of times a bully cannot. That's the thing. That's the insecurity. It's like, I'm going to try to pull you down because I can't do it. I'm going to bring you down to my level.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really go back to the mind of a person who is, and if you're a bully as a child, you're going to grow up to be a bully. And I've seen it. I have seen kids that were in school that were bullies, that they've grown up, and in their older days now, as you know, in their 40s, because I'm in my 40s, they still live a life where they bully others and they make fun of others and they think it's cool. It really doesn't stop, because that is inside of you now. That's your mentality. And if you've had no one, no parent, no friend, no one correct you and say, hey, that's wrong, you live with it thinking it's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. I've seen people who in school were complete bullies and then called names and do things, and now they're like the nicest, sweetest human being, because somewhere down the line someone stopped them or something happened to them that made them realize that, hey, it's not cool.
They got hurt.
They got hurt.
Yeah.
Something happened, right? And I think it's important really sometimes, and even if nothing happens to us, right? And I listen, we all have a humor. We all have a way of saying things and doing things. But are we really in our 40s, if we're doing things like that, and if you're in your 30s and you're still hurting people by your words and your actions, it's not cool.
And it's
You're
not
not
funny.
cool.
It's not funny. That's not a sense of humor. That's a lack of empathy. That's just being mean and nasty. And the thing is, you were talking about, when someone tells another person that no one wants you, no one wants you here, there is no value. That's you start to teach your children and yourself that you have a right to be here. You have and your right to be here is not as a parent or a sibling or a child for someone. That is not your right. When you attach your purpose to another person, that can easily be shattered.
Absolutely.
Easily. What your purpose is to something much greater, much, much greater. And when you can connect yourself, like, for example, my life, it's all about helping people to heal from their heartbreak.
Right.
Now, it doesn't matter who's in my life.
Yeah.
Right. My purpose remains my strength. That gets me up in the morning. It keeps me going. So you could come and tell me I've got no right to be here, and I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. My clients need me. Right. Because there is a greater purpose. So you have to find your greater purpose and teach your children that they're individuals here with a greater purpose in plan for them. And eventually they'll find out what that is. Yeah. So that, nobody's telling them that they have no right to be here.
I think a lot of times the people that you see that are into these type of things are people who really haven't served their purpose. They've lived life comfortable, whether they find it, or maybe they've had difficulties in their life that made them this bitter, because I find some of them to just be plain out bitter, right? So whatever the reason is that makes them who they are, I feel like they haven't found a purpose with their life. They don't find things that they can do with their life to be meaningful, right? And that's what finding your purpose is really about. But, if it is something that you feel, if you feel that you're that person who can sometimes come across as rude or as a bully, there is always a way to seek help. And we will speak more about it in just a few minutes. But first, here is a message from our sponsors.
Enos Driving School offers training for CDL licenses, including tractor-trailers, trucks, and school buses. Just think, with a CDL license, you can have access to thousands of driving jobs at large companies such as FedEx, UPS, MTA, or New York Sanitation. Enos Driving School also offers defensive driving courses and training classes for cars and motorcycles, all taught by their college-trained instructors who can even schedule your road test appointments. Inquire about other driving and training packages as well. You might even be qualified for their free CDL training, as they are a certified institution with the New York State Workforce One program. Call Enos Driving School today. They've been serving our community for over 10 years.
M&R Firefest is one of the newest hotspot in Richmond Hill. If you're looking to have a fun time or just chill, this lounge is the place to be. We celebrate all occasions and our live entertainment and drink specials are amazing. We are located at 13123 Liberty Avenue. Come check us out and see what everyone is talking about.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese, and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late night. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless, and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
And we're back.
All right, we are back, and yes, you caught me. I was on my phone. I was trying to send you guys a comment. We are reading your comments right now. We are trying to address the ones that we see. This one here says, as a social media content creator, I'm constantly being bullied for my content. I've learned to move past such negativity, but sometimes it does not it does best you down and have you questioning yourself. I've talked with other creators that suffer emotionally from these bullies and made them leave their platform for their sanity. This is that
it's a
this,
social
and
media
I know who this person is. She's a dear friend of mine, and I know about the situation. So she has had people bully her to the point where they've attacked her family as well. And
Yeah.
it's not a cool thing, because I know her. We have several conversations. I know this person to be a very kind person. She's a fun person. She does cooking and she puts her stuff out there, and it really shouldn't be she shouldn't be attacked like this.
But I mean, yes, but no one should be. And it's just really unfortunate that you could stay behind your computer and you're attacking people. And the chances of a person coming to your face and saying the same things that they write or similar things, it's next to none.
Yeah.
Like, people don't have the courage. Their courage is built behind that computer.
Insecurities.
So, this is where sometimes we have to take responsibility, because you're the one who's hurting. A question: why does this affect you so much? Why is it whatever they're saying affects you as much as it affects you, right? That's a question you've got to ask yourself, because your answer is right in that question. And that's how you take responsibility. Because remember, you could scream and shout and complain about it. It's not going to stop them. In fact, when they know that it affects you, they're going to keep doing it, because it's the reaction that they're looking for. You don't engage with someone who's being nasty and negative to you. Just don't engage. You shut it down, either by agreeing with them. I love to agree. It's horrible. Sometimes it's sarcastic and it hurts. But when there is an ego in us, and it will come out at certain times, right? And sometimes you just got to let it. So you could just agree. You don't have to be nasty. Someone comes to you and says something mean, just say, okay, yeah, thank you. Right. Yeah. End of story. When you take that power away from them by not reacting the way they want you to react, they want you to be hurt. They want you to be angry. Now, for the pain to stop you, right? You've got to ask yourself, why does this hurt me this much? What is it about this thing that this person is saying that affects me so much, right? Only you can answer that.
Only you can answer that. And listen, if you can't answer that, right, I say reflect. Go back and see whatever you're doing, whether you're a content creator, if you're just someone who posts your travels or you post your family, whatever it is that you do on social media, they attack you for it. Go back and see and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And I go back to what I've been saying, and I have been on social media probably, I would say 14 years that I've been here now on Facebook, probably about 12 years. And I share a lot of things about my life. I share things about my family. But in the last year, I've been sharing things on social media that has to do with helping others, right? Get Real with Shameeza is something that's being shared on so many platforms. And I know that I don't come out there and it looks, I come on here every Wednesday and everything looks like it's fine. I sit here and I deliver what I'm supposed to deliver. I ask questions to my guests, but there are people out there that says nasty things about me. There are things that's being said that has never happened in my life, will never happen, and it's out there that it happened, and I just sit back and I listen to it. When I can't figure it out on my own, I go to family members, I call up my dear friend and I say, hey, this is being said about me. Can they like move that up a little bit, give me a little bit higher standard in terms of what they're, I make fun of it because I can't. If I really dig into it and I think about it, it will kill you. So for me, I if I can't process all of it, I go and I seek advice from others, people who I look up to, people who are mentors. And it's important, create mentors in people. If you have someone who you admire and they're inspirational to you, you might have somebody who you can have as a coach that you go to and you say, hey, this is what, and it's not only for social media, it's for anything that you have going on in your life, whether dealing with your family, dealing with kids. You should have people around you that you feel confident in trusting them to tell them that, hey, this is going on, this is what's happening. How do you feel about it? How should I react to it? This is what I'm thinking. And let them advise you. You should have those things in your life. But going back to what we were saying about there are things being said, right? I just choose to ignore it. I don't address it. And I've said this before. I'm not going to focus on 5% or less. I'm going to focus on the 90-something%, the good things that are happening for me, the people who support me, who are there every single Wednesday to listen to what I have to say and listen to my guests, and they're respectful to my guests. And you're here right now just listening to this topic. This is why I am here. And what they have to say doesn't matter.
That what you just said reminded me of our very first interview when you asked me about, my ex moving to Canada with the children and all of that. And then afterwards, we got some really nasty comments from people who said that I was a horrible mother for abandoning my children. When the kids left, I was 26. And I got that comment a lot. People said that I was horrible for doing what I thought was best, for my children, sending them to Canada so they could have a better life with their father. And I was an immature mother who didn't have the right to raise children, 3 children. That hurt. That comment hurt when I was 26. By 27, it was used to hurt me, deliberately used to hurt me, because that person knew it was going to hurt me, right? It was only when that person left and I collected myself and asked, wait a second, am I a bad mom? No, I gave my children the best life I thought was possible. So when this person sent those nasty comments after our interview, maybe a few months ago, it really did not affect me in the least bit. So that comes from you knowing yourself, you having confidence in what you're doing. Confidence is something I'm going to be talking about on my podcast, but there's this little bit that I want to share with you guys. Confidence comes when you know what you're doing, right? What you're doing, and you own it. You own the bad about it, the good about it. If it's a business that you're being attacked for, and it's hurting you, then I'm going to make a guess and say, you don't feel very confident in what you're doing. And it's not an attack on you. You don't have to get defensive. This is just something for you to really play around with. Because if you really know your stuff, and if you know that you know your stuff, they could come to you and tell you you're bad at it and it won't affect you.
And it's important. The person that's telling us that, she continues. She has, as a matter of fact, next week on Get Real with Shameeza, we will have her here with our summer edition of content creators, with her YouTubers, the life of a YouTuber, what it takes to be them.
Oh, and let me just correct this. It doesn't mean that you're not good, right? I have a really good friend, excellent photographer.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a shoot with her recently. Awesome photographer. She doesn't see the awesomeness I see. She's confident,
right?
But she doesn't see the awesomeness I see. So you might be incredibly good, but you're not seeing it. That's what I'm saying. It's not that you're not good. You're just not seeing it. And that's why it's hurting you.
Right. But she continues on her platform. She continues to put out content. We see delicious food almost every day. She has content. And next week, we will speak to Ash from Cooking with Ash. We will speak to Rocky from Being Rocky. And we will be speaking to Charmaine from Charmin Kitchen. She'll be joining us from Canada. We will have a fun summer edition of YouTubers next week. But first, before we continue, we have to take a quick message from our sponsors.
Hibiscus has been a flagship restaurant in our community for a very long time. Come dine with us and enjoy our excellent food, drinks and service at any one of our many locations. We are located on 12418 101 Avenue and 22113 Jamaica Avenue. Hibiscus at Elliott's on the Mile in Freeport is one of our newest locations, along with 12402 Rockaway Boulevard. In Guyana at 91 Middle Street, Georgetown. Bring your family and friends and come visit us soon.
Kiss Hall is one of Queen's premier locations to celebrate any special occasion, business and social events. The ambience and atmosphere is rich with elegance. Let your vision come true and allow our staff to handle every aspect of your affair. Come enjoy this experience at Kiss Hall and share it with your guests in an unforgettable setting. We are located at 130 to 35 91st Ave, Richmond Hill, New York. Contact us at 347-564-5406.
Sherry's Weakness for Sweetness is a family-owned and operated bakery with a West Indian flair. We specialized in custom cakes, decorative desserts and a contemporary spin on traditional West Indian cuisine. We are located at 114-07 Jamaica Avenue. Hours of operations are Tuesday through Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Memories should always be this sweet. Come visit us today.
All right, we are back. And like I said, the discussion continues. If you are being bullied, call the No Bully Help Hotline at 1-866-488-7386. Again, that number is 1-866-488-7386. And you can always visit a website that deals with bullying to learn about more information. And then we're here as well. If anything that you have, any questions, we're here to help. Amanda, Amanda.
Anything
Annalisa,
works.
I know. I saw Amanda's comment. Good night to you, Amanda, and it's a pleasure to have you here this evening. Annalisa says, I think about what we've discussed the last hour. There is a lot of information.
Yeah,
There was a lot that was being said, and I hope out of all of this, something that we said here tonight can make a difference in your life or someone that you know. It can make a difference in their life. You can actually save someone by sharing this information with them. So please feel free to share this show with them. If you're watching in Guyana and you need help, there are ways to get help. Please reach out to us, reach out to your local, there are hospitals and little city councils, things like that you can reach out for any help that you think. If you can't deal with it on your own, reach out to others, but there's always a way out.
Mm-hmm. And I know in Guyana, it might seem difficult. You could always ask a friend for that same safe space that I suggest you give to your children and your friends. You can always say to your friend, look, I just want to share something with you. I don't want any judgment. I just want to speak freely, because sometimes just getting it out helps.
Yes.
Right. Just getting it out.
And I think getting it out, it gives you peace of mind, and it just, your body, your mind, everything just feels different when you let it out. And like I said, I go to others when I can't handle it, if I hear all of these things being said by all of these different people. And you have to understand, I'm a new person. I am here, and for all my life I've lived and lived comfortably, worked, took care of kids, and just, had no type of issues with anyone. I have great friends who I've known for the last 30 something years. I've built great relationships. But when you're doing something, and I put it in this way, I'm doing something right, is what I tell myself, or else I'll probably go crazy. I'm doing something right. That's why I have the people who attack me constantly, because they're either wanting to be like me, or they want to do the things that I'm doing and they can't do it.
Well, the thing is, too, I mean, you're going to keep growing. You're going to get more and more successful, which means your list of negative comments and nasty comments increases. So you can't stop what's coming to you. I know a lot of authors and actors, they don't read the comments anymore, because they know that one nasty comment could affect their entire day. And then we're responsible not just to ourselves. We've got, we work, we've got our families, we've got our friends, we've got, we've got that bigger purpose, which really should be taking up our mental space. But it's really to really let go of that bully's hold on us. We probably need to start working on our confidence, and like I said earlier, help our children build their confidence. That's how that should be what you focus on.
And I think if you're confident and you deal with these situations with confidence, and act very securely about yourself and how you handle the situations, your kids see that as well.
Yeah. And confidence doesn't mean that you have to know everything.
You don't.
It means being comfortable to say, yeah, I don't know everything. Or I'm uncomfortable because I don't know this thing as yet. Words play a really important role in how your body responds to emotions. Like, I don't know how to play the piano is very different than I don't know how to play the piano yet.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, it's also owning the things that you're not too okay with, and that's fine. It's fine. It's being okay with who you are. That's what confidence is.
And at the end of it all, right, we know what the signs are. We've spoken about so much different things to look for. At the end of it all, right, we can't control who the bully is and what they do. We have no control. But we as human beings, we have to take ownership for our own actions. We have to be more secure about the things that are around us. And we have to build ourselves up to the point that no matter what is being said about us, and like I said, it could be many things. If you can't handle it by yourself, grab a friend that you can trust, right? The worst thing that you need is grab someone who will betray you, or they'll go back and speak about you. Grab someone you can trust, because these things do kill you after a while. If you have friends and you have other people who you're supposed to trust, and they betray you, right?
But then again, you don't know if you could trust them or not. That's the other thing. So again, it's being comfortable. You are your own
best friend. Yeah. And if some of us are lucky, we might have that spouse that we can speak to. We might have parents that we can speak to, and we know it's safe. Some of us have kids that they might be young adults, or they're adults, that when we speak to them, we get a sense of relief. I have that.
Yeah.
I have my kids that I can call and I can say, hey, this is going on. I don't know how I feel about it, or I'm not feeling good. And my child will say to me, Mom, you know what? And they're mature enough to say to me, Mom, you know what? Let it be. Or Mom, remember this day when this had happened, or what was. And it just gets you. So find that person, find that buddy that you can confide in, and you can have a conversation if you're not sure where it's going or how you feel about it. Find something, do something, but do not dwell on it. Keep moving regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah, there's also something else I wanted to add. We talked about bullying in schools. We talked about social media bullying, and we didn't touch on what happens when it's a family member or a really close friend.
That is true.
That you don't want to let go of that relationship, or relationships you've built. We're in a culture that I am not in agreement with. It's called a cancel out culture, where we block people, remove them. If they don't agree with our thoughts and our beliefs, we just say, okay, fine. We don't see each other. We don't see eye to eye. You're on your own. I'll block you.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that. I feel like in a way it's a cop out. It's an easy way out. You can always call someone in. Like you were saying that you met with someone, you knew that there was some sort of a tension and you asked them, let's work this out.
Right.
So instead of, stewing on things, being upset with people because you're feeling that tension too, you could always call them and try to understand where they're coming from with an open mind. Again, remember, bullies really, they're acting out because they're hurt. And if it's a family member, you can't get rid of this family member, and you probably don't want to build that relationship. You have to have an open mind and not expect them to do it. I find that happens a lot. Like people are always like, why do I have to show up? Why do I have to put in the effort? Well, you want the relationship, and relationship is work.
And I feel sometimes it's simply just taking ownership, letting go of your ego. And you might be right. You might have all the right, but sometimes it's important to be the bigger person, say, hey, let's have a conversation. Was it something that I said? And listen, you don't even need to ask that. If you think that you need to figure out what you did to take ownership, ask the question, hey, was it something I said? How did I make you feel? Something to really understand where that person is coming from. Because if they're hurt, you want to know what's hurting them. And maybe you did something unconsciously, right? We do these things. Things happen. We're human beings. Listen, if you in your own mindset and if you were wrong, and sometimes we say things, I say things sometimes, and I'm not even conscious that those things
it's received that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you can say it, and the tone that you say it in comes across.
But also words affect us differently. Like a word will affect you, and it's going to be perfectly fine with me.
You might say something to me, and I find it, you sarcastic, right? And someone else might find that to be offensive, and someone else might find it to be perfectly fine. We all take things differently. We're unique in our own way, and it's important. Know yourself, take accountability. And when you're wrong, apologize, guys. I can't tell you. There are things I apologize for that I wasn't even wrong about, but I do it. If it saves the peace, keeps the relationship, but you don't want toxic people. I'm not saying if people are toxic, you need them in your life, and you should be, owning up to things that you didn't do. If they're toxic and you sense that they're toxic, give them a couple of tries, give them a couple of chances. After that, you move on. If the action keeps happening, and it could be your best friend, it could be a family member, it could be a stranger. If they're toxic, let them go. That's
just set your boundaries and give them a chance or two, because if they keep disrespecting you, it means that's just the case. It's just not going to change. Sandy's there. I just want to say hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. It's a pleasure to have you here this evening. Guys, we can continue this discussion probably for another hour, and we will be, there will be so much to talk about, but unfortunately, that's all the time that we have tonight. Your final comments before we go?
Look, we grew up, I think I mentioned this last time I was on the show. Mommy always said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything. And we've talked a lot about the control that you have on what someone says. It's none. Get used to that early. You cannot control how people speak with you, what they say to you, how they treat you. You can only do the internal work, and it starts with looking at where your confidence is and start working on that, building up yourself. And like I mentioned, I just want to recap this. Confidence does not mean that you've got everything all figured out. It means that you can say, I don't have everything figured out, but I'm working on it. I'm a better version than I was yesterday. I'm going to keep improving. And it's fine if this does not work for you. And then you step away. That's all you can do.
That's really, when you sum it all up, and when you come to the end of it all, it's as easy as that. keep moving. Whatever you do, guys, just keep moving. Charmaine will be on with us next week, guys. You don't want to miss that. We're going to take a break July 27th. We will be back, and we will be back with our season finale, which will be Chef Dev from Canada. I'm excited about it. Summer edition. We're going to be talking everything cooking, healthy eating, and healthy living. Guys, you don't want to miss this next few episodes of Get Real with Shameeza before we finally wrap up this season. I'm excited, a lot to share with you guys. There are some special announcements, and there's so much more to bring to you. I'm working on quite a few different topics for the next season. Not right now, but with that said, guys, I we have to say goodbye now. And before on closing, be kind. That's my advice to you. Be kind. Stand up if you need to for others. And remember, there's always a choice. Until next time, good evening.